for like 6 years prior, and it was like 6 years basically of that. If you came into the industry now and you were like, I want to have like a company where you like pimp out DJs, door girls, promoters, and do events, like that's pretty unheard of because you don't have those connections and those contacts.
Like a one-stop shop for hiring entertainment.
Yeah. But it's just because I've worked in all those departments that it comes easy to me, and I know what people are expecting and what they want. And all that kind of stuff. So I'm super, super lucky that I made those connections. But then because I still consider myself like a baby DJ.
Yep.
But I'm like a full-time DJ, and that's what I do. But that doesn't rub well with the DJs that were full-time DJs when I was managing, because they're like, well, you've been around for a hot minute. Why is it so easy for you, and why do you have more gigs than me, or why do you have the residencies that you do? And it's like, because
here's your chance to tell them why.
Well, that's exactly what I just wanted to say just quickly. I wanted to ask, how important would you say networking, communication?
It's the most important part of it.
Yeah.
It's the most important part of it. Like literally. But also, like, say for example, like someone that I would say I talk to online, like on social media, who's like, like a social media friend, would be Furman. Would I ever hit him up to play at Club Humble? No, because I don't go there, and that's, to me, that would be disrespectful. But I like talking to Furman. Like he's a cool person. He runs events as well, and like we chat about like events like sometimes and whatever. But it's like you've got to also read the room in the same way that I don't think I've ever booked Furman. But there are people where it's a currency, and it's just like, no worries, I'll book you for this. Like for example, Barcella, biggest like currency that I have at the moment. And people are messaging me and they're like, oh, I want to play here. And it's just like, no worries, champ. I want to play at the events that you do the bookings for.
That's it. It's trading system to an extent almost.
And because I have been frothing for this day where something would be so important that so many people wanted to play at. And the event's too large. So I had to literally handball it to Mike and get him to book the DJs, and I'm so angry because he's like, oh, this person wants to play. I'm like, no worries, tell them I'm playing at their event. And he's like, no. He's like, I don't do bookings like that. He's like, I hate that DJing is a currency. He's like, I'm either booked for my talent or I'm not. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about talent, book me. Like, I don't care, just book me. But like, that's how it is. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, like, it is. It's sole contracting and providing a service in a way. And that's the biggest thing about it. It's just,
I think what people can't like get their heads over is like different venues require different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like Capital Corp, in terms of their Magnet House and amplifier and stuff, they've definitely moved that to like the newer generation. And I feel like why people our age are so sort of jaded about it is because it's moving on, right? And we want this.
I don't think people are necessarily like jaded, as I top myself up. I haven't.
People I talk to are a bit jaded.
Well, the thing that I'm jaded about is I played Maneater on Saturday night, and a girl was looking at me. She's like, I don't know what this song is.
Are you kidding me?
No, I had the same thing with Michael Jackson a couple of weeks ago.
What song by Michael Jackson?
Thriller. And I was like,
Thriller.
Literally, I died. I
was
like,
off. No way.
Like shocked.
See,
but that's the thing. It's just like these, like the 18-year-olds of today grew up to like 2010 music. Like that's the music that they're going to remember.
And it's so bullshit as well to an extent, right? Because the thing is like,
concerning.
Yeah, for me, it's very concerning.
Botox, but it's concerning because it's like, holy shit, like we're that age where it's like we've been around and we've seen the trends and everything like that, but
it's depressing, isn't it?
Oh, mate.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started. I love the Rolling Stones, but fucking hell. Like
I was saying, like I came to the realization that partying is a full-time job and my body just can't handle it. I just had to take the weekend off.
But see, like I have to admit, that's why I love pubs and bars and all sorts of stuff rather than clubs, because it's just like, I have a music collection of 32,000 songs, right? And so with that, I have everything I've ever liked, right? And so with that, when I go out and about, I'll play the Eurythmics and Cold Chisel and AC/DC and the whole like old school rock and roll vibe, because I'm a country boy and that's my roots in a way. But when I go out and play Eurythmics and someone's like, oh, I don't like this, Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics, it's like, what fucking era were you born in? Like, this is a classic kind of thing.
It hurts the
and
heart.
It's so ridiculous, right?
It hurts the heart and soul.
And then, well, sorry, what were we going to say?
I was going to say, but that's when you've got to know, like, what works in what venues.
Because,
for example, Maneater would go off at the court, and when I play at the court, they love it.
Yeah, I could.
But
it's same thing with Connections as well. Maneater, you'd hear it, like, she's a Maneater.
But, like, Magnet House, it's just, and do you know what? It could have just been that one night. It could have just been that one night that it didn't
That
work.
one person
However,
with that one chip on their shoulder that just wanted to say that one thing, and
yeah, you've
tugging
got
on the
to
insecurities.
you've got to put that in the back of your mind though. You can't let one or two people like ruin the whole night.
Well, see, like perfect example as well. Like 2 weeks ago, right, Scarborough Beach Bar, I had some girl come up to me at 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Can you play Mr. Brightside? And then drop the $10 note, right? I haven't.
Did you take the $10?
I haven't told the story yet, and I told you this story.
Yep.
So how's this, right? Some girl rocks up to the booth. She doesn't even look at me. Has her head down. Drops $10. Then shows me her phone like that. Shy. Really.
Everybody does the phone out so much better. I love that so much more.
You can't hear
like,
anyone.
And also,
No, but I
like,
could hear her.
I don't like people, especially being a girl. Guys do this thing of like hooking you around your neck and like pulling you down, and
Really?
you're like, this
What?
isn't that type of
People
club,
touch you?
hun.
What? I've
Oh,
never
dude,
seen that
all
before.
the fucking time. It's
For-
so
Dude,
bad.
guys,
I'm
let me
always
just
like
say-
this. I'm just like, come over
So
here.
bad.
But-
It's- at venues I don't work at anymore, and I wouldn't work again. But I've had like real aggressive staff and like literally throwing money, like throwing 50s at you and be like, play it. And you're
What
like,
the fuck?
yeah.
Yeah, here's a
Holy
hot
shit.
tip for all the guys out there: don't touch women unless they want you to touch
Yeah,
them.
like, Jesus
at all.
Christ.
But even then, and also what I would love to, like, can we cancel when you're talking to a female or walking past her, do not fucking touch my back.
Yep.
I fuck it. Like,
But
to
like
me,
upper back? What do you mean?
don't, like, say if I was
your
about
spine?
to, like, yeah, like.
You think it would just be like a common sense thing, just like don't touch anybody unless they want to be touched.
But like to me, when I feel that little palm on my spine, I just think
Just
Here
the
we go
sigh
again.
for the-
you're a
like,
predator.
fuck you.
But it's just like you see me as a sexual object. You don't see me as an equal. Like just in the nicest way, please just. You know, are you touching your guy mates like that? Probably not.
So this is out in a big whim, right? And I've had a few glasses of wine, but I have to admit, right, that one of the biggest things that that does bother me to an extent with the Australian scene, I would say. I mean, Perth. I've only ever seen the Perth scene for playing out and about and working out and about, but it is just like the culture behind. Okay, I didn't get the girl, so I'm gonna go and beat someone up, kind of thing.
Slut.
But,
Dumb slut.
but like, I said,
Oh, you're a fat bitch. You'd be lucky to have my dick in your mouth. It's like, chill, babe. Like,
So the first week after COVID, right, when we actually started going back to clubs and pubs and stuff like that, I was with a good friend of mine, and basically what ended up happening was when I started DJing, a group of 4 dudes rock up, right, and they go and sit outside, out of sight, out of mind. No one sees them, right? And then basically, there's these 2 girls that rock up, pretty girls. They go and sit by themselves. They're just getting drinks and doing their own thing, right? You're not allowed to leave your chairs. You have to sit down to be able to drink, right? No dancing or anything, right? So this one guy goes up to these 2 girls, starts chatting to him. He's like a South African little dude, right? Starts like, I'll buy you a drink, this and that. The girls are like, not interested, see you later, mate, right? Buggers off. 5 minutes later, comes back with 2 dudes, right? So there's 3 of them. Comes up and then starts trying to sit with the girls. And the girls are like, no, we've told you once. That's when I called the security over, like, keep an eye on that table. Holy shit. Guy gets rejected again, goes off, comes back with his whole table of mates, tries to sit with the
why
girls.
would you want to get rejected in front of all of your mates?
And that's what I mean. The guy,
I think he was going for the whole peer pressure move.
The girls literally scull
I'd
their
be
drinks,
like,
right?
I will embarrass you in front of anyone. I don't care.
Yeah, we know you.
If
would,
only it
Kate.
was you. If only it was you, because you should have seen what happened though. Girls scull their drinks, right, and they leave, right? Then the guys realize the girls left, so they followed them, right?
That'll get him.
Right, 5 minutes, 10
She'll
minutes
realise.
later, followed them, right? So then what ended up happening was I ended up finishing, walking down to the Peach Pit in Scarborough, right? Had a cigarette with my mate, right? Walked off to near where the oceans on the corner is, right? Up the top of the hill. Because those guys couldn't get with those girls, right? Literally grabbed some guy, threw him against the curb. So he literally hit his spine against the side of a curb and started kicking him on the ground.
I hate, and what I think is the worst about when you see fights in real life, it's not like the movies. There's no
No,
sound.
no.
It's not like a shh, like it's not.
No.
You know what I mean? It's very real when you see fights like that, and it's so unnecessary. The worst is when you see like kicks to the head and like.
That's what I mean. I saw this guy getting kicked in the rib cage against the curb in Scarborough, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
It's so awful.
But that's what I mean, though. It's like it's the culture behind Perth to an extent. Well, not Perth, Australia. You can't label Perth, but I just mean like.
Have you ever been like
Bogan
overseas to a
culture.
nightclub or a bar?
No, I'm pretty vanilla. So I've been to Bali. But I mean,
you'd never see it in Bali, I reckon.
no, when I was at Bounty, there was a situation where my friend and I were there for, it was either her 21st or my 21st, and everybody was like flocking to my friend because she was stunning, and I was just like, well, fuck me, like I'll just, you know, chill here and be like the ugly one. And these guys almost, like, they literally were all crowding around her, and then they ended up fighting, but we were stuck in the middle of it, and someone almost glassed somebody.
Yikes.
And it just
Over
happens in the
someone
blink of
you've
an
met
eye.
5 minutes ago.
That's it.
Like, I wish, like, I had guys that interested in me. Like, fuck.
I've been to a house party, right? I DJ'd a house party when I was younger in Bustleton, right? And
I always
literally,
hear great stories about Bustleton.
are you ready? Right, hold on to your chair. So what ended up happening, right, was these two girls were fighting over this one guy, right? And it turns out that one girl was actually dating this guy, right? So with that girl dating this guy, her friend was like, no, like, you guys have broken off and this and that. And then, oh, by the way, I fucked him last week, right? And so she lets her walk off,
There's so much.
right? Bottle of passion pop to the back of the head.
Oh my God, this is so Australian.
To the back of the head, a
my
bottle of
God.
passion pop. Didn't break the
That's
bottle.
going to be my weapon of choice from now on.
Just like literally
Or a
just like
goon
a
bag.
dunk kind of thing. And then she just dropped.
How would you weaponize a goon bag?
And
though?
I'm sitting there playing music like, holy shit.
There's a-
Like, what do I
there's
do?
It's so crazy.
And it just happens in the blink of an eye sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just over the stupidest,
Oh.
silliest things
My
sometimes.
absolute dream. I was actually, I've said this before, but I was talking to Linda from Capital Corp the other night about this. I want to have, I swear to God, if anybody steals this, I will
You've heard it first
come
on the Infrared
for you.
podcast.
I will literally come for you and I'll make your life a living fucking hell if anyone steals this from me. I would love to have like a TV show outside of nightclubs that like literally interviews people after they've gotten the fights, and you just like run after them like, what was that about? And you find out like the details of just like, why did you guys just glass each other inside? Because it will be the most entertaining fucking reasons ever. Like the other week, oh, no, actually, I'm not going to go down that road. But there's always situations where you're like, how did this turn south?
Yeah, how did it
Like,
happen?
And you
Yeah.
want to know. And you're like, come on. Like, and I would love to have like a little, like on the street camera crew running through Northbridge and like the streets. And
I'll
being
do it.
Like, I would honestly, okay, we're doing it.
I'm in.
I'm not even joking. I'm locking you in,
I'm not
and
even
we
kidding.
will
Thanks,
start a
Infrared-
brand.
Infrared
It'll be
podcast.
nice to go along my shower reviews that I'm planning on doing eventually.
Shower reviews.
Yeah, I'm gonna review people's showers and let people know what a good shower is and what a bad
Like,
shower is.
do you mean like, so
This is
I've-
news to me.
So like, hey guys, so I've just had this one night stand and I'm currently south of the river somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love that. That
Yeah.
would be the best YouTube ever.
Look at this shower. Like the tiles, they're not like slip proof. Like that's
There's
bad,
no
that's
mold.
negative.
Or like she's left out products for
Yeah.
you. There's the option to use the products.
Don't look at me like that, Alex. I'm putting this one glass.
Just
of
quickly,
What
I
did you
do
do? What
just
did you do?
just
And you spilled it
announcement.
on my laptop again.
That's it. Last week he spilled a glass of red wine on his fucking laptop.
No, I imagine your laptop's like pretty techie as well.
About $1,200 worth.
I've just got one of those, shitty gaming laptops that
It's about
they look
$1,200,
impressive,
yeah.
but they're not that impressive.
Game
Yeah,
boy.
they're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what it is.
So I have to ask, right? So now we'll bring it back, but we'll bring it back a little bit. So the door girl and the bar service thing, kind of.
Yeah, bottle service.
Bottle service. Sorry, it's the wine. So, so what's involved with that? Like, how do you fall into that to an extent?
So I'm really, really lucky. Again, it just comes down to networking. So this is literally how Banks & Co got started. So
Just quickly as well.
basically-
What is Banks & Co as well?
So it is a company that I started when I left working a nightclub, and I was busy doing. Oh, I can look at myself. Oh, I'm a little pale.
Damn.
I was. My brain just turned off.
It was a comment.
I left a venue, and I was doing a lot of consulting for venues just under my name, and then I got asked, because obviously I was also known for being like a nightclub promoter, and I'd like pretty much made my mark in that area, and everybody knew that I was associated with certain venues and all of that. So I got asked during Ice Cream Factory to promote a night that was launching at Coconut Grove, and the promoter called me and he was like, hey Katie, like, can you please like organize these girls for me? And I was just like, no worries. So I went down myself as well, because I was like, shouldn't be lazy. I should really do this myself and get back in the game. And like reviews that we received were so insane. Like the owner of the venue was just like, oh my god, these girls are amazing. The venue were like super stoked with us. The guys from Ice Cream Factory gave the venue really good feedback as well, and everybody was just raving about how good we were at promoting this after party. And then I was like, well, I'm not making that much money out of this for this other guy that I'm giving an amazing reputation. Why don't I just do this myself? So then the next night I approached the venue and I just said, cut this person out of it and I will do this for you. I'm savage with business, very, very savage, but I'm upfront about it. So if you were to ask me, did you do this, or like, I'll always give you an honest answer, because I think it's always better to be honest but upfront about it. And I think you should never say something behind somebody's back that you don't have the balls to say to their face. So if I say, for example, if I had an issue with you, I wouldn't be sitting here being like ranting about it or venting about it. I'd wait until I saw you and I'd be like, this is my beef.
Yep.
And it's just better to do it that way. And I think for whatever reason, I'm sure it's not just hospitality, and I'm sure it's not just DJs.
The world is a dog-eat-dog world, I would say.
It's very catty and I don't like that. I don't understand why you can't just say, this is what I want or this is what I expect. And, you know, or like, hey, you hurt my feelings, or, you know, whatever. Just be upfront about it. And I got the contract, and then literally that day went home, got an ABN, started a company. So it was originally supposed to be just pushing out door girls, but because I'd worked in 2 very, very busy clubs for 6 years, I was very used to pumping things out super quick. And so, which is why I'm very good at doing events and like pumping them out, and like, because I get a lot of feedback of like, oh, you have a lot of events, like all that. Like, I don't know, because I think in my first year I did 7, but
your first year you did 7 events. Holy shit.
But I would be used to be doing pop-up events of like, hey guys, this week we're doing this kind of party. So I'm just used to that quick and fast-paced mentality of like, time is money, we've got to like keep going, we've always got to have something exciting and something like new. That it very quickly turned into doing events. So I had my first event, Side Piece. Then from Side Piece, I had venues message me and say, hey, we really liked what you did with Side Piece. Can you do that for our venue? And I was like, what? Like, this is amazing. And then because I'd been doing consulting, Banks & Co. was originally supposed to be marketing and consulting based. It wasn't supposed to be events and all that kind of stuff. I knew that I could do that, but that's not.
So how did it morph into all of that? When was the moment you knew?
Asked for.
Yeah.
I just had more and more venues message me and be like, I saw what you did for this venue. Can you do it for us?
So would you say Banks & Co. is now like an event planning business?
I'd say it's events, promotions.
Yeah. And when you said consulting as well, so what is involved with consulting? Is that just saying like, if we do it this way, we'll probably make a profit to an extent? Or
going into a venue and basically just being like, this is how you guys are running at the moment. This is how you guys would run more effectively, or like more like cost effectively. This is where you can cut costs. This is the areas that you guys are lacking. These are the areas you guys need to focus on, all that kind of stuff. So like I do like social media for different venues and like different kind of companies and stuff. So there's that aspect of it. And then it's just, they could bring you in and be like for example, recently I've had bottle service, and it's like, hey, can you come in and sort out our bottle service, because we're just not quite sure on how to do it.
Is that like, Magnet House at all?
So it's event consultation.
Maybe. Is that with the yachts at all? Or the yacht service or whatever it is?
Grey Goose do yachts, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Right. I thought I saw a few photos where it's like, you know, you get a bottle service where it's like a yacht and you get drinks.
No, it is. It's I think it's sponsored by Grey Goose. So basically, that like you get a lot of stuff from. Vodka's the best, because vodka companies are obviously aware that they're the easiest product to market in terms of bottle service, because it's the most people like it.
Exactly, yeah. It's a standard drink to an extent. It's
very like probably the best seller in almost any venue ever. So they obviously know like, hey, purchase this amount, we'll send you
X amount,
of you know, purchasing that much, etc. But a lot of venues just don't know how to do it, and because I started it with one event, like one venue, and knew that inside and out, and as well because I had learnt so much in the other areas of like, okay, so we're booking a booth, or we're giving away this.
You would have implemented or had something involved with the implementation of the bottle service at Air? Or was that already a thing?
I don't want to say the venue's name, but yeah, I did. Yeah. So yes. So I did so basically, like, you've got the menu there, you work out the prices, you work out what's cost effective. You've also got to work with the market. So hypothetically, if every venue is selling bottles for $300, you can't sell them for $400 unless you've got something better to offer. But you've just got to work it out, because bottle service can actually be more cost effective for you. You're just paying for your night up front. You're not waking up in the morning and being like, fuck, like, what did I do? It's like an upfront purchase of this is what I'm spending tonight. And generally with bottle service at most venues, you'll get free entry, priority entry, and all those types of perks. So you don't have to line up. It makes it way easier. But venues just don't know how to do it, and they don't know how to upsell. So also the thing is as well, with a lot of venues, they've generally gotten so big so quickly that they haven't had the time to really implement those types of things, or like staff turnover. So there's
bottle
a lot
service
that goes
is
to it.
like, I spent 6 months traveling around Europe, and bottle service is everywhere in all the nightclubs.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If
It's
I
not
was to go
everywhere.
out now, like I probably wouldn't not get bottle service, because it's like, A, I can afford it. B, I don't have to like sit with people I don't know, or I can like just hang out and sit down and with my friends, and it makes the night more enjoyable for me. So it's like, why wouldn't you do that? But then it depends on what your aim for your night is. If that's what your aim is, then that's great. Maybe your aim is to go out and hook up, or your aim is just to go on the dance floor all night. I'm not a dance floor kind of gal, so I enjoy to sit.
Yeah.
So, but also that's because I've been in nightclubs.
I do
They're
too,
ruined.
and like that's what I appreciate about the redesign of Magna House, is that now
there's
they've got
so
all these
much sitting area.
areas.
There's so
It's
many
good.
booths. It's crazy. Like the opening night, I remember walking in and I was so emotional at how stunning the venue is. I was crying, and I was like, I don't know if this is because I've maxed out my barcode at Lookout or what's happening right now, but I was literally crying. Like, I just
It's
remember
definitely like stepped up the game. Like
it literally
it's,
changed the game.
it's brought Perth to an international standard, which is
Yeah.
really good.
That's
Yeah.
what we were discussing the other week, though. It's like with clubs and pubs and bars, and it's just like people go out, but it's too expensive to an extent, kind of thing. But
if
it's one
too expensive, then you're not going to the right places.
exactly, and that's where it's one of those
Don't
things.
complain about it being expensive. Go somewhere else. If you can't afford to be in a venue, that's not that venue's fault.
Yeah.
You can't talk shit about that venue and be like, oh, their drink prices are too much. You're probably not their target market.
Well, at the end of the
That's
day,
exactly
if the
it.
venue's making profit, the venue's making
Well,
profit.
Exactly.
that's what I was going to say, though. It's like with Scarborough Beach Bar, for an example. They do a unlimited drinks package. So it's like you pay $400 and you get like 2 pizzas and unlimited Aperol spritz,
Oh, I hate Aperol
martinis, and I think it's another 2 cocktails for like 3 hours or 2 hours, something like that. But then it's like people will actually go and buy that, birthdays, this and that.
Yeah.
But then they'll plan that and go, okay, we'll have pre-drinks here. We'll get all unlimited drinks for us and our 8 friends, and then we can go elsewhere after. And it's just like, you can plan the night out.
Sorry to butt in. Cameron Anderson just said, what venue are we all talking about? We're just talking about venues in general. I think
Every
it's fine.
venue, everything in Perth.
Also, Greg said, are you a 70s porn star, Alex?
I love you, Greg.
Also, tell Greg that I'm not angry at him.
It's just the mode.
You can tell Greg.
Oh, okay. Greg, I'm not angry at you.
There you go.
No one's ever angry
Stop
at you,
prioritising
Greg.
Frank's nights over mine.
Greg, you're amazing. I love you to bits.
Work the shaft, Alex.
Yeah, that's it.
No, like before.
We've
You're
still
like,
got
you've got
his,
to be 2 hands away.
That's it.
Both hands, man.
So I have to ask, did you study anything to be able to get up to this level?
So marketing has always come very, very naturally to me. When I first started out, I couldn't tell you why you did things, but I knew that that's the way that you did them. And still to this day, I still have a lot of that kind of stuff. Like, I might not be able to articulate very well why I'm doing something, but I know that's just how you have to do it.
I have to admit, I really have to admit that with marketing, it is kind of,
Common sense.
it's just like it's common sense. It's a gradual learning.
Yeah,
You
but I
realize
think-
like that happens because of that.
I think you either get it or you don't with marketing.
Yeah.
And one of my really good friends in Melbourne, Emily, shout out to my graphic designer, the Logo Lab. She also used to work at the venue that I worked at for so long. And I don't know if that's where she's got it from, but she's very quick at knowing why you do things. But again, probably the same.
You're on the
doesn't
same
necessarily
wavelength?
Yeah. But I think it's just you either get it or you don't. I think that, yes, you can teach marketing, you can teach promotions, but it's a natural thing. So in the same way that, like, say, for example, bottle service and door girls and things like that, even DJs, that's a personality and you can't teach that. It's you either have it or you don't, and you can be someone that you're not. And like I can't remember what podcast you were talking about last. I think it might have been with Brandon, maybe, where it was like introverted extroverts. And
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to bring up.
Yeah,
So you can't teach an extrovert
Yeah.
introvert ways, and you can't
Yeah.
an introvert extrovert ways. I mean,
Yeah.
you can try, but it's one of those things where it's like, unless it's unless you're willing to be open to that kind of thing, you're not like.
So when I was at the venue that I was at for a really long time, so I basically worked my way up, and I was like basically assisting the venue manager with pretty much everything, not dogging him out, like, but that's what my job was, like literally just hanging out with him all the time, and he would be like, this is what we're doing today. And
who's him again? Was that Brandon?
No, Brandon was never a venue manager or my boss.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
No.
When you said him, who? Him?
No, so Christian Beaton or Christian Aries, as everybody would know him.
Okay,
so like we worked very closely, like in an office that was smaller than this table. And if it was a bad day, it was a bad day. But we just both got marketing, so we could do different things and like all this kind of stuff, which is also probably why my events are very like heavily gimmicked, because that's marketable. If you're just like marketing a night that you're just marketing the DJ and you've made like a probably average promo and you've come up with
unless people know the
name,
DJ, that's not going to make a difference.
But even then, what DJ in Perth really has a pull?
Yeah.
Like nobody's coming.
Harrison, Flash Cult, the Perth's tallest DJ.
But is anyone actually rocking up?
There are a few that have like a local.
I 100% agree with what you're saying.
Like,
and that's where I've managed to make it work with not even having a name.
Yeah.
So like, literally, I go under the name Square One, but who the fuck's known of me? No one knows it.
Yeah.
No one knows me. But the thing is, though, it's one of those things where it's like you go to the venue, you have a good time, and you might go back, but it's like, sorry. I was talking to a mate about this a while ago, but it's like one of those things where it's like, if you go to a venue and you have a bad time, the chances of you going back to that venue after you've had that first bad time is probably very little. But if you go to a venue and you have a great time, then you're probably going to be like, it was I had a great time. I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's the DJ, the staff, the music.
Yeah, but the point we're talking about is the marketing of the event, because you want people to come to the event. They're not going to come to the event without good marketing.
Because I know I think you guys asked George that question of like, does the marketing really matter? Or it was something along those lines. And I'm telling you right now that it does. Yeah. Because you can't, like, apart from providing a DJ and you've got a cool name for your event, what else is it? How is that different to next door?
Yeah.
What could you provide a vibe.
What advice could you give to somebody who's going into event planning? What are the three biggest things that you would say to look out for, or to focus in on, or highlight, or any of the above?
Know what you're doing.
These are good questions, Mitch.
Yeah, it was really good.
I'm trying. The more wine I fill up with, the better it gets.
I think I'm on my fifth glass.
Come on, everyone, get another glass. Know what you're doing. Don't put something like, for example, I talk about all the time how I am vanilla and I'm commercial. I am not trying to be something that I'm not. I know my lane, and I'm more than willing to stick to it, which is also probably why I'm not like, Fairman, get me into Club Humble. So know your lane and know where your strengths are and know where they're not. Because there's nothing worse than, like, for example, like for Barcella. Barcella's a great reason. This is literally why I hired Mike DeWitt and like really wanted him to come and like work with me for this, because he is a DJ. I'm commercial. Mike can do commercial, but he can also do trap and he can also do R&B. I can play R&B, but if you hired Mike to do that versus me to do that, you're going to get two different products.
Yep.
In the same way that I had a venue hit me up on Saturday night and they're like, can you come and close 2 till 5? And I was just like, no worries, this is how much I'm going to charge. And I overcharged. And
so what you're saying is like you should rely on other people to...
No. So like... What my point here is like, know your strengths. So like I knew for Barcella, because I've got 5 genres, I know one genre.
Yep.
I mean, I could push it out and I could be like, okay, cool, so this person seems to get booked at all the R&B events, this person seems to get booked there, and I could book the DJs, that's no problem, but Mike would have more of an understanding of who to book and why, and like why we're getting them to do those rooms. Whereas for me, it'd be like, okay, cool. So like we've got like a house room, for example, for Barcella, and we've got a, I haven't even released the rooms yet because I haven't finished the graphics for them. But it's like a house room, a cheese room, an R&B room, the stage, which is like red line.
How many stages are you going to have?
Line. So we had 5, but we're adding another one, or like we're adding a silent disco.
Yep.
Which is going to be like an emo concept, which is like, because I'm like obviously like working with OSnap for Friday. So, and this kills me, and this is like kind of what I'm talking about, but my emo brand, Sad Reacts Only, Oh Snap is unfortunately bigger than my brand.
Yep.
So I can either promote myself or I can have a more successful event and promote someone else's brand.
Yep.
So that works more entire. So just know your strengths and know your weaknesses and be willing to acknowledge this is my weakness and I probably need help here.
Yep.